Some people quietly ship, write, train, and build every day without fanfare. They don't wait for perfect playlists or Mondays. They move without negotiation. Ask them how, and you won't hear feelings or inspiration. You'll hear something older, harsher, and truer: duty, identity. In 10th century Japan, Heian period, that force had a name: Yamato Damashii, the spirit that moves the body, even when every nerve begs to stop. It forged warriors and leaders, and centuries later, was tragically twisted by propaganda. Today, we'll return to its original essence and show how it can transform you from someone who knows into someone who can't help but act. Before we begin, there are two kinds of motivation. 1. Excitement is short-lived, like a spark after a hype video. 2. Ikigai, your reason for being, the steady current beneath action. In this video, we'll show why chasing excitement sabotages progress and how identity and duty free you from it. Quick ask: if you're done with empty hype and ready for real transformation, subscribe to Presence and Power, hit the bell, and drop a comment. What's the one action you keep postponing? Post it honestly and reply to someone else to help them with what you know. Let's be a community that acts, not just consumes. Thank you for being here. Chapter 1. The Man Who Knew Everything and Did Nothing. Japan, around 950 CE Heian period. Tadayoshi is 24. Born into a noble family, he has access to more knowledge than most will ever see. Chinese military classics, Buddhist sutras, strategy treatises, Sun Tzu, Confucius. While other young nobles compose poetry about cherry blossoms and spillsake under lantern light, he studies battle formations, supply lines, leadership psychology. He dreams of becoming a great warrior, maybe even a general. His mind is razor sharp. He can quote passages verbatim, debate tactics with men twice his age. But there's a hidden rot. He cannot act. Every morning he vows, "Today I train. Today I'll grip the sword till my palms tear. Today I become the man I say I am." And then a new scroll catches his eye. A tactic he hasn't fully mastered. A tiny voice whispers, "Better understand first. Don't train wrong. Just one more chapter." He reads, he annotates, he memorizes. By the time he looks up, the sun is down. "Tomorrow," he promises. "Tomorrow I begin." Servants whisper. Nobles smirk. Tadayoshi, the warrior of books. He can slay you with a quote, but not with a blade. One evening, his father, stern, seasoned, a military advisor, delivers the blow that cuts deepest. You have the mind of a commander and the heart of a scribe. Knowledge without action is a fine tombstone. You are a shadow pretending to be alive. Tadayoshi doesn't sleep. The words throb in his skull. By dawn, he does something he hasn't done in years. He walks past his shelves and steps outside. Chapter 2. The Meeting in the Forest. He wanders the cold forest, bordering the estate, half hoping for clarity, half seeking an excuse to return to comfort. Then he hears it, the rhythmic hiss of wood cutting air, thick of wood striking wood, relentless, hypnotic. In a clearing, a man around 50 repeats the same sequence with a wooden sword, again and again. Graying hair tied back, scarred arms, a jagged mark across the shoulder. No theatrics, no grin of achievement, only breath, stance, cut, repeat. Tadayoshi is transfixed. This is what discipline looks like, not glamorous, not loud present. When the man finally stops, Tadayoshi bows. "Master." The honorific slips out. "Teach me." The man scans silk robes, soft hands, posture unused to labor. No, he turns away. "Please," Tadayoshi blurts. "I've absorbed the classic Sun Tzu, the Chinese general's strategy, formations. I learn fast." The man looks back, the faintest glint in his eyes. "You know techniques?" Use them. He walks on. Something collapses inside Tadayoshi. Pride. Identity. Please, he calls, voice cracking. I need to change. The man pauses. You'll give up. I won't. Everyone does. I won't. Silence stretches. The man considers the face before him. Desperation is still a feeling. Feelings pass. But perhaps the boy should learn this himself. Before sunrise. Here, if you show up, I'll consider it. If not, don't return. I'll be here, Tadayoshi insists. The man murmurs, barely audible, promises, as if the word itself were air. Chapter 3. The first test. Tadayoshi doesn't sleep. Before dawn, in the biting dark he arrives. The older man Kaito is simply there, like he grew from the mist. You came, Kaito observes. It's not praise. I said I would. Words, he says. Let's see if you have more. Hell begins with simplicity. A basic stance, knees bent, hips dropped, spine long, arms extended holding a wooden blade level to the ground. This, Kaito says, is foundation. How long? Until I say. 2 minutes in, legs tremble. 5, sweat beads in the cold. 10, his body screams to straighten. Master, I... Silence. Kaito's voice is clean steel. He sits on a rock, watching without expression. Your mind lies. It begs you to stop, long before your body must. In 15 minutes, pain blooms into tears. Not sorrow, raw physical overload. Stop, Kaito says. Tadayoshi crumples, gasping, thighs on fire. He looks up, expecting comfort. He finds disappointment. 15 minutes and the negotiation begins. Do you think battles pause when you cramp? Those enemies wait for you to feel ready. Shame prickles. Go home, Kaito says flatly. You lack what is needed. Something hardens in Tadayoshi's chest. He forces himself up, legs shaking. Kaito studies him. You think a surge of emotion will carry you? Anger is the weather. Tomorrow, you'll be sore and soft again. You won't return. I will. Why? Tadayoshi opens his mouth, then closes it. Because I want to. Feeling. Because I'm ashamed? Feeling. Kaito is right. Feelings evaporate. You don't know, Kaito says. So you won't last. He turns to leave. Then tell me, Tadayoshi pleads. Tell me why you want to come back. Kaito stops. Because it's your duty. Duty to whom? To the man you declared you'd become. Motivation is a breeze. Duty is an order. Breezes change. Orders endure. He takes another step, then adds, we have a word for this. Yamato Damashii. The Japanese spirit. Not doing it because you feel like doing it because it's who you are. Chapter 4. The second day and the first real lesson. He returns. Not because he's eager, his entire body protests. He returns because duty remains when desire is gone. Kaito's face shifts, still not approval, but recognition. You're back. Pause. Yesterday you were loud with emotion. Today you're quieter with resolve. Which is stronger? Today, Tadayoshi says. Exactly. They resume the stance. Before they begin, Kaito says Yamato Damashii is not a mood. It's a muscle you train until it becomes the bone. As Tadayoshi holds, legs already buzzing, Kaito asks, what did you study? And that made you a warrior? No. Why? Because I didn't act. Partly, the classics are wise. Strategy matters. But remember this, knowledge without Yamato Damashii is decoration. You may know paths to victory, but until your spirit puts you on the field, knowledge is a corpse. At 20 minutes, Tadayoshi collapses, heaving. Progress, Kaito nods. Not because your body is fresher, it's not. Because you discovered that pain is not the enemy. Hesitation is. Chapter 5. The lesson of the river. At dawn on the third day, Kaito leads him to the river. The water is swollen and brutal with cold. Kaito points to a rock midstream. Stand there in your stance until I call you back. For how long? Until you understand. Tadayoshi wades in water, like knives leaps to the rock, nearly slips, steadies, drops into position. 5 minutes uncontrollable shivers. 10 numb feet. 15 panic. Master, is. Your ancestors stood bleeding on fields, Kaito calls. March hungry. Fought exhausted. And you want to quit drinking cold water? Why must I do this? Because you said you would become someone. Declarations create duty. Duty is not a question. Tears mix with spray. He pictures a softer life, books, theories, endless tomorrow. And he hears his father, you are a shadow. The mockery, warrior of books. He rejects it. Not here. Not now. Something shifts. The cold remains. The pain remains. But he stops fighting the fact of it and accepts the role. This is my duty. Resistance drains. The work becomes simpler, not easier. Simpler because he stops layering suffering over sensation. Come back, Kaito finally calls. On shore, by a fire, Tadayoshi hadn't noticed. Kaito says, 45 minutes. It felt like hours. For 15, you fought the cold and exhausted yourself. Then you accepted your duty and the struggle changed shape. Not because pain vanished, but because you stopped negotiating with it. That is Yamato Damashii, feeling without obeying feelings. Wanting to flee, yet staying because identity doesn't bargain. Chapter 6, where the idea came from. That night by the river, Kaito finally explains. Do you know why I chose to teach you this? Tadayoshi shakes his head. Because men like you are why it exists. In the Heian court, our nobles drank deeply from Chinese wisdom, poetry, art, philosophy, and statecraft. Brilliant minds. But many became as you were, learned, unmoving, theory without spirit. Our ancestors needed language for the difference between those who discuss and those who do. Not anti-Chinese wisdom is wisdom, but they recognized knowledge is the blade, spirit is the hand that wields it. He tosses a branch into the flames. Practical wisdom in solving real problems, choosing under pressure, and acting when it matters, doesn't come from reading alone. It comes from doing your duty when everything inside you begs to stop. That gap book to the battlefield is bridged by Yamato Damashii. Chapter 7, The Great Temptation. By week 2, Tadayoshi is truly changing. He holds stances longer. His breath grows even. His mind quiets. Then the full moon festival arrives. Music, poems, laughter. An invitation arrives glittering with all the comforts he left behind. He tells himself he's trained 7 days straight. 1 night off. He deserves it. He doesn't show up the next morning. Kaito watches the sun climb. The clearing is empty. Tadayoshi wakes late, head heavy with sake and regret. He goes to the clearing the next day, expecting to find nothing. Kaito is waiting. Not being angry is worse, sad. You didn't come, Kaito says softly. It was the festival. Kaito lifts a hand. You owe me nothing. You owed yourself, and you walked away. That is the only truth. Tears sting. I'm sorry. Please let me continue. It wasn't a slip, Kaito says. It was a choice. Comfort over duty. Pleasure over promise. He turns to leave. You still think this is about doing hard things when convenient? Wait, Tadayoshi begs. One more chance. I understand now. Do you? Kaito faces him. What is Yamato Damashii? Tadayoshi breathes. Doing what must be done even when you don't want to. Part of it. Deeper. Duty over feelings. A consequence. Deeper. Tadayoshi closes his eyes. He sees the cold river. The stance. The fire, the festival, its identity, not a task. When I broke my word yesterday, I didn't break a habit. I betrayed the person I said I am. Kaito is silent for a long time. He nods once, then he breaks him. 2 hours in the stance. No respite. No balm. When Tadayoshi finally collapses, shaking and weeping, Kaito says quietly, "This pain? You picked it yesterday. When duty is dodged, cost doesn't vanish." Chapter 8. Identity, not action. The next day, no drills. They sit. People think discipline is doing difficult things, Kaito says. Wrong. Discipline is becoming someone for whom those things are non-negotiable. I should train invites bargaining. I am someone who trains ends discussion. He draws in the dirt. I want to be a warrior creates distance between you now and you later. Distance allows loopholes. I want to, but not today. I want to, but I'm tired. I want to, but there's a festival. I am a warrior, erases distance. Warriors train because training is what warriors do. Identity, not preference. So Yamato Damashii isn't forcing action. Tadayoshi asks. For the first time, Kaito smiles. It embodies identity so completely that action is the obvious consequence. The greats didn't wake up deciding whether to train. The question didn't exist. You weren't wrong to read books. The error was identifying as a scholar who aspires to fight instead of a warrior who studies. In the coming months, he continues, you will change identity not by thinking, but by repetition so consistent, your mind has no choice but to admit the truth. Chapter 9. The Transformation. The months that follow are brutal and simple. Decide once. Act 1,000 times. He chooses who he is. Then he lives that choice. No negotiation. No, just for today. No, I deserve a break. The question, will I train? Disappears. Of course he will. Warriors train. By week 6, he wakes before the alarm. His body stands before the mind speaks. By week 8, he stops thinking about training. He shows up. On day 63, he wakes feverish, heavy-headed. The old voice suggests rest. He goes anyway, staggers to the clearing. You're sick, Kaito notes. I am. Then why are you here? Because this is who I am. Kaito's smile this time is broad, warm. Now you understand. Yamato Damashii is not hard. It's an unshakable identity. Then gently go home. Rest. You're not here to impress me. You came because you couldn't. You've changed. Chapter 10. The final lesson. 90 days. The visible changes are obvious muscle where softness was, calluses where skin was smooth. But the true change sits inside. You've completed your training, Kaito says. Now the truth. This was never about drills. It was about life and death. The Tadayoshi who knew everything and did nothing died. Every dawn you chose duty over comfort, you killed him and were born again. The scrolls you love are not wrong. They're precious. But without a soul, knowledge is a beautiful corpse. Yamato Damashii is the breath that animates it, turning information into wisdom, intention into reality. He stands and leads Tadayoshi to a field. 20 armed men wait, scarred. Seriously. These soldiers need an instructor, Kaito says. Someone who understands strategy and has proven execution. Someone with Yamato Damashii. You recommend me? Tadayoshi asks. I'm giving you your duty, Kaito replies. You spent 90 days becoming a warrior. Now teach others not just through manuals, though they matter, but through example and identity. Chapter 11. 5 years later. At 29, Tadayoshi is no longer a question. He commands 300 men. He's won 3 decisive engagements, not because his unit is the strongest or best equipped, but because his soldiers don't negotiate with themselves. Orders are executed cleanly, not from fear, but from shared identity. We are Tadayoshi's soldiers, they say. Tadayoshi's soldiers do not break. A bright, bookish recruit approaches one day. General, I've read all the manuals. I know the drills, but when it's time to act, I freeze. Why? Tadayoshi smiles. He has waited for this. Because you have knowledge without a soul. Knowledge shows the path. Yamato Damashii takes the step. Meet me before sunrise. I'll teach you what no book can. The next morning, in a quiet clearing, the cycle begins again. Chapter 12, Distortion and Return. Tadayoshi lives to 67. He never abandons Kaito's lessons. But history marches on. Centuries later, in the run-up to World War, II rulers hijack Yamato Damashii and twist it into something dark: nationalist propaganda, blind obedience, death worship. They claim the Japanese spirit means supremacy, martyrdom, and fanaticism. That was not Yamato Damashii. That was manipulation wearing sacred clothes. The real essence was never about empire or superiority over others. It was about superiority over yesterday's self, the inner war, killing the negotiator within, and becoming someone who simply executes from identity, not impulse. The term carries scars now. Some avoid it, but its truth survives each time someone chooses duty over feeling, each time knowledge becomes action. Chapter 13. Applying Yamato Damashii today. You don't need armor or a Japanese name. This is a human truth. Stop making promises about what you will do. Make declarations about who you are. Not, I'll go to the gym, but I am someone who trains. Not, I should read more, but I am someone who reads daily. The shift seems small. It changes everything. Duty is non-negotiable. Identity has no days off. When you say, I am someone who does X, you aren't making a plan. You're naming yourself. Transformation requires pain. Breaking comfort cycles hurts. Building new patterns hurts. Bitter medicine doesn't taste good. It heals. Knowledge without execution is an illusion. You can study fitness and stay weak, study business and stay broke, study relationships and stay lonely. Knowledge shows the way. Yamato Damashii walks it. Consistency beats intensity. Tadayoshi didn't change in one heroic session. He changed by showing up 90 days straight sick, tired, unmotivated. Don't chase marathon days. Chase streaks. Chapter 14. The Final Secret. On the last day, Kaito taught a paradox. Now that you've learned Yamato Damashii, he said, I'll teach you when to bend it. Bend it? Tadayoshi frowned. But you said duty doesn't negotiate. Duty doesn't, Kaito said. But wisdom guides duty. This is not self-punishment. The point is not to destroy your body for the sake of a streak. It is to serve your purpose. If you are truly ill, rest is not betrayal, it's strategy. Warriors rest to fight better. Cowards rest to avoid fighting. Same action, opposite intention. How do I know which is which? Tadayoshi asked. Ask, why am I stopping? If it's because I don't want to, or it's hard, or I deserve a break, that's negotiation. Kill it. Execute. If it's because my body needs recovery to perform tomorrow, that's wisdom. Yamato Damashii, without wisdom, is fanaticism. With wisdom, it's mastery. The truth available to you. Tadayoshi's story ends. The truth doesn't. You don't need more motivation fuel that burns fast and leaves you stranded. You need an identity you can't slip off. You need duty that outlives mood. You need to let the version of you who knows but doesn't act die in birth, the one who acts because it's who they are. People will ask, how do they do it? The answer will be simple. They don't do it. They are. If this shifted something in you, subscribe to Presence and Power, hit the bell, and comment below. What's the one action you've been postponing? Post it now. Then help one other person in the comments. Let's build a place where knowledge turns into movement. Remember, knowledge without Yamato Damashii is dead weight. Knowledge with Yamato Damashii rebuilds your life. Decide who you are. Then act in accordance today, not later. Every day you delay, the old self grows stronger. One day it will win unless you end it now. Thank you for your attention. You've already shown you can focus. Now use it. Step forward. Be present. Walk with duty. We'll continue this journey together in the next one here on Presence and Power.